Hi, I'm Maggie Cruz.
And I'm John Duckett.
And this episode of Jordan Uncorked is at Auto Camp, Russian River. And since we're in the heart of the Russian River, amongst the Airstreams and the Redwoods, and really Russian River is known as a great wine region for Chardonnay, we thought that we would brown bag it and have some fun with a bottle of Jordan and a bottle of Burgundy.
True glamping style, I'd say.
Yes, for sure. So we have our first wine here.
Neither of us knows what this is, just 1 and 2.
Definitely some age on this one.
Yeah, I get kind of a little more of that honey character, a little nuttiness, but it's still a lot of fruit.
Even the color's a little bit more golden.
Agreed. Super rich acidity though, really nice on the palate. It's,
and for that age, it's nice to have that acidity kind of.
Yeah, you can have a lot of these
watering.
wines at this age kind of fall short and flabby and become kind of disjointed, but this is a really tart and crisp and nicely drinking.
And that acidity really kind of makes you want and crave food with it.
Totally.
And
I mean, this would go along with a lot of different foods.
Oh, for sure.
Anything from creamy to something seafood, scallops, something like that. I mean, this is...
It will hold up against anything, really.
Yeah.
On to the second one?
Yeah, let's do it. Number 2. So this, just by looking at it, I would say would have less of that golden character. Looks like a younger wine. And I get a little less of that honey, nutty, aged character. A little more of a floral aroma.
A little fresher kind of green apple character. A little brighter fruit. The acidity is kind of in line with the first one.
Yeah. I would agree. Still nice and crisp.
Acid. On palate alone, I would say that, be inclined to say that this one's a little bit younger than the first one.
Would you have any inkling as to a New World versus Old World comparison here?
Based on color, aroma, I would say number 1 is probably Old World. I'm guessing that's the Burgundy, and then number 2 is the Jordan.
Yeah, I would agree. Kind of has more of that, kind of that Russian River style, I would say. So, a little more of that fresh fruit, that lively acidity that we were talking about, and kind of color alone. This number 1 kind of has your characteristic Burgundian.
Pretty classic,
Yeah, aroma and flavors. Beautiful, but different.
What's really similar is much more on the palate in terms of acidity and mouthfeel.
Yeah.
Not super creamy or buttery. It's got a really nice acidity. Filled out kind of midweight, but not over the top. Really beautifully balanced. The nose is kind of where it's a little bit more obvious and differences.
Yeah, agreed. Like we said, you've got a little more of that honey, nutty character in the Burgundy. Some more of that fresh fruit, green apple character in the Jordan. But like you said, you get a lot less of that oak characteristic. It's more of a balanced wine for both of them, which is what we strive for. We kind of want it to be all in balance and all in harmony with each other. And I think they're both very similar on the palate.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is great for us, We strive to be like a Burgundy, so this is it.
And again, both of them would be great with food, for sure.
Absolutely. Or I could just drink the bottle right out of that brown bag, too, on both of them.
We are glamping.
It's nice. So we know that these are both 2011 Chardonnays, one being Burgundy and one being Jordan. What we can say about the 2011 harvest was that it was a somewhat difficult year. It was a colder year, rainy.
Really cold year.
So we were dealing with, some issues in the vineyard. There was a lot of sprays going on for, mold and mildew, as is normal. So, it was kind of a tougher year. But when it comes down to it, if this is the Jordan, I mean, it comes along with this really nice fresh fruit. The palate's really tasting really young. I mean, I wouldn't put this as a 2011. I would say it's a younger wine.
For sure.
So it's great to see it holding up like this. I'm really happy with that, and I think that's great news for just our winemaking in general.
I think it's a true testament to a wine in a challenging growing season. It's if it's in balance, it's going to age well. It's going to have age worthiness. It may not go as long as a fantastic vintage. But I mean, if this is a 2011 and if that is the Jordan, I'm pretty proud.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I'm in agreement with you. 1 Burgundy, 2
Jordan. Russian River. Okay.
Russian River. Let's see what we got.
Okay, just as we thought. Number 1 was the Meursault-Charmes, and number 2 was the Jordan 2011. Both 2011s.
Yep, that was a fun tasting. I thought that was great. I mean, it's always fun to taste a white Burgundy, and to have our wine tasted blind against the Burgundy is always a treat. And to show that it shows, well against it.
Holds up.
Yeah.
We can hold our
really
own.
Exciting, totally. especially a year like 2011.
I'd say in terms of ageability, I'm kind of surprised. If you asked me when we released the 2011, I would say drink it pretty young, but it's tasting really nice. I mean, it's 2018. I think we have probably a couple more years.
Yeah, I mean, you could get into 2020, 2022, and it's probably still tasting great. I mean, this is really tasting really young. And the Burgundy, I mean, different on the nose. You know, you're having a little bit more of that aged character.
Yeah.
But palate-wise, like we said, you've got a lot of that acidity and fresh fruit aroma. So I think it's
a couple more years.
Yeah, a couple more years there. So both showing really well, and some possible age going forward. So glad to see it.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us on our first Chardonnay tasting for 2018. New year, new wines. Any other things that you want us to taste? Red, white, pink, bubbles. Leave your comments down below and we'll try to get to whatever we can as soon as we can, because we do love these tastings, especially brown bagging like this out in the Russian River. So cheers, Maggie.
Cheers.
This was fun.